Here are the pros and cons of living in Cartersville, Georgia. One of the biggest pros of living here is going to be the affordability of the homes. You can find homes 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, as low as $250,000 in Cartersville. This is like almost unheard of in other suburbs of Metro Atlanta. In suburbs like Marietta or Alpharetta or Johns Creek, it is not possible to find homes that are move-in ready below $300,000. Not even possible. Don't even think about it. But in Cartersville, totally doable to find those move-in ready homes below $300,000, as low as about $250,000. If you look anything lower than $250,000, you might be looking at like some fixer-uppers, but totally possible in Cartersville, Georgia. What's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living. We put out videos every week about what it's like to live in Atlanta and the suburbs around Atlanta. Another pro of living in this area is the amount of outdoor activities here. Not only are there a lot of parks in this area, but there's also a bunch of hiking. There's the Pine Mountain, which is a great hike to the top of the mountain with an incredible view at the top. Also very close to Cartersville is Lake Allatoona, which provides lots of outdoor activities, boating, swimming, fishing there at the lake. Lake Allatoona is like one of the largest lakes in all of Georgia, and Cartersville is a quick 10-minute drive to the lake. And so this is a very big draw for many people who live in this area. Another big benefit of living in this area is the amount of museums that you find here. This is super surprising to many people, especially when you like go to Cartersville and you see that it's kind of a ways away from the city of Atlanta. Like you're not anywhere near Atlanta, but there's still a lot of great museums in this area. You have the Savoy Car Museum is there. You also have the Booth Western Art Museum, the Telus Science Museum, which is one of my favorites. My kids love going to Telus. And then also right there in the downtown part of Cartersville is the Bartow History Museum. And so surprisingly, a lot of museums here in this area, lots of culture. And so if that's something that you're interested in, then this is a great area for you. Another pro of living in Cartersville, and then we're going to start talking about the downsides of living in this area, but another pro is the downtown area in Cartersville. If you're thinking about moving to Cartersville, or you just have any questions about what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm a local real estate agent here in the area, and I'd be happy to help with your moving needs. But the downtown part of Cartersville is super cute. Lots of great shops there, lots of great locally owned restaurants and shopping there in downtown Cartersville. And there's kind of like a main street with a lot of these stores there in Cartersville. And so this is a big draw for many people as well, even for people who don't necessarily live in Cartersville, but maybe they live in one of the cities outside of the area. They often come here for this very downtown area. And then there's also the fact that there's less traffic in Cartersville because this is a city that is kind of a ways away from the big city of Atlanta. You're not having like overly crowded, super populated areas with like long lines or lots of traffic. There is some traffic on certain parts of Cartersville, which we're going to talk about, but the majority of the city is not like a traffic problematic area. You're not going to find too much traffic out there because it is kind of a rural small town. It's more of that kind of vibe. So traffic is not really an issue there. In addition to that, you also have very friendly people out here in this area. And so you're not kind of in the big city where people are a bit colder, but in Cartersville, people are a bit warmer, a bit more friendly. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. Holding the door for you, saying please and thank you. These are all super common courtesies that you find in many people in this small, quaint town that is very family friendly. Now, of course, there are some downsides to living in this area because there's some downsides to living in any part of any area. There's always some pros and cons. And so let's talk about what some of those downsides are of living in Cartersville. Again, we talked about the traffic, but one thing that you should know about is that many people live in Cartersville and then commute all the way down to Atlanta for work. And so Interstate 75, which is the main way that you would get from Cartersville to Atlanta, does have quite a bit of traffic, especially during rush hour. That commute would be probably well over an hour because of the amount of traffic. And then also kind of close to Interstate 75 is Highway 41. And so when Interstate 75 has a lot of traffic, people often take Highway 41 to try to get around that traffic, but then that just means there's also a lot of traffic on Highway 41. And so the traffic on those two roads are definitely problematic, but outside of those roads, we don't tend to have too much traffic in this area. Another issue with this area is that it's not really very racially diverse. You're not going to find a whole lot of different kind of cultures and ideas here in Cartersville. It is getting better and it's growing and increasing, and more people are moving to this area, and I'm sure that it will be better in the long run, but for now, the cultural diversity here is not great. According to a website called datausa.io, Cartersville is 67% white, 14% Black or African American, and 12% Hispanic. There are definitely some other metro Atlanta suburbs who do that diversity much better. Cartersville is not one of them. Another downside of living here is the infrastructure issue. There has been a lot of people moving to Cartersville, and so you could say that really the city has not done a great job of keeping up with the amount of growth that they are experiencing there, and so the roads aren't really well maintained, especially for the amount of people who are living there. The power lines are mostly above ground, and so we have these tall pine trees here in Georgia, and tall pine trees and above ground power lines don't mix very well, causes some power outages every once in a while. Also, high-speed internet, you can get, like cable internet in all parts of Cartersville. You can get that like 18, 20 something megabyte download speed in Cartersville, but getting like 1 gigabyte of download speed with fiber internet is not something that you're going to find in every part of Cartersville. So if you're thinking about moving to this area, that's something that we would check for you to see what is the highest download speed or what is the internet speed in that specific neighborhood. So that's something else we should probably talk about, is like we have companies like AT&T or Xfinity that provide the internet here, and they do run these fiber optic lines through many parts of the city, but not every neighborhood has those fiber optic lines. So you can be in one neighborhood in Cartersville and you would see that those homes all have access to fiber internet, but the neighborhood adjacent to it might not have that fiber internet. So it's important to check if you're buying a house or renting a home. You really want to check specifically with that home or that neighborhood to see if it has access to high-speed internet. Some other downsides of living here is that, again, it's a small, quiet town, and so that's really cool, and there's some great benefits to that, but some downsides to that is that you're not going to get like a lot of good like restaurant options or shopping options. This is not something that Cartersville is well known for. Also, public transportation is like non-existent. There is no public transportation in Cartersville, not that I know of. Of course, somebody in the comments is going to tell me about like Bartow County public transportation, but nobody uses. If there is public transportation here, nobody uses it. It's not a thing. That I would never rely on any kind of public transportation in Cartersville. Of course, there is Uber and Lyft, and all of those options are definitely here, but you're not going to really find public transportation, and it's not a city where you're going to walk around very easily from like your home to a grocery store. Everything is very spread out in Cartersville. You're really looking at like a 5 to 15 minute drive to get to a grocery store from your home. So when it comes to small towns around Atlanta, I think this is a great city. I love Cartersville. Definitely one of my favorites. In fact, I've made an entire video on the top 10 small towns of Atlanta. You can check it out here. I'll see you in the next one.